Howdy friends, it's your midsole man EDDBUD here, back with the viewer's favourite series, Running Shoe Yay or Nay. This is one where I check out some soon to be released or recently released shoes and let you know if I'm going to pick up a pair or not. Today looking at the Adidas ADIZERO Prime X3 STRUNG, also taking a gander at the VOMERO Premium. A couple of trail shoes too, one from ASICS, the Trabuco Max 4, and something from REEBOK, the FLOATZIG Adventure 1. Lots to get through, so let's get started. Thanks for joining me on the channel for this yay or nay. Let's dive straight in, people. The Prime X STRUNG 3, could this be a belter? Coming back to the original kind of vibe we had in the Prime X STRUNG. With these better images here, we can see the general setup of that midsole now, which is the really important bit with this shoe. Higher definition shots here showing a clearer makeup of that midsole with various different foam sections making up the underfoot experience. Clearly we got two plate sections there with a part that's kind of sandwiched in the middle, a bit like we had with the Prime X2, though I can't help but think that those two plates were a contributor to the extra weight that we had in the Prime X2 over the original version. I was a bit sad to see a lack of rods in the V2, and it just didn't have the same bouncy and fun feel as we had in the first version. That made it a very addictive shoe, really like that one on those longer training efforts. I guess Adidas have a number of other nimbler shoes on the ADIZERO range, like the Adios 9, Boston 12 and the Adios Pro 4 now, though there's no sign of that long-awaited Takumi-sen update. The big question here though is as to which of the parts of the midsole are the old Lightstrike Pro and which are the new version of the foam. There's a big difference in the density, it's quite drastic in fact, between the two versions. We've seen that with the new Adios Pro 4, it's much softer, that Lightstrike Pro, although it has the same name. Surely it must be that more responsive newer version sandwiched between the two plates. The return of that foam is absolutely unmatched in my opinion. But I think Adidas know that that foam is on borrowed time. As soon as you take it out the box, when you start using it in anger, it does start to lose some of those very springy properties. So I think that's where they've positioned that newer foam, and the rest of it's probably the older Lightstrike Pro. I can't see them putting that softer stuff throughout the midsole. It would simply be too unstable for anyone really with a 50mm stack of that. And don't forget, the stacks are often much bigger in my larger sizes over the sample size. I don't think the Prime X2 is as successful as the original version. There's lots of pairs knocking around for discount right now, and I think it's just too scary a prospect for many to try out with that very narrow heel. The price, well, no word on that yet, but I'm sure that the tariffs will have something to say about it. It might be upwards of $300 odd, which is completely bonkers, but I've got a soft spot for the Prime X, so I'll be very keen to see if the 3 is any good, so it's a yay from me whenever it comes out. Who knows? Nike up next. They need a successful non-race shoe in my opinion. The VOMERO series, shrouded in mystery at present, with several shoes suggested as the Plus and the Premium versions. I reckon that this is the premium option here, with these two air units incorporated into the midsole, sandwiched between what appears to be Zoom X foam. It surely has to be the top end option over the cheaper and reasonably cheerful VOMERO 18. The Plus just seems like a VOMERO more to me. I can't though see this shoe being that much lighter than the recently released Pegasus Premium. That's got a full-length Air Zoom unit in it, which in my UK 11 was like upwards towards 350 grams, a lot of weight, people. That follows Nike's trend of heavy trainers, light racers. I mean, this thing's one of the lightest ones they've produced for a long time. It weighs almost nothing. Though with the other brands knocking out lighter training options for less than the Pegasus Premium, the VOMERO Plus and Premium could be a bit of a hard sell. Not that I don't have any interest in shoes like this with a mixture of tech, I really do love that stuff. They always bring something new to the table, those Nike designs. Some of them work and some of them don't. But that's been Nike since the early days, trying out things that might not necessarily always hit the spot, throwing mud at the wall and hoping that something sticks and they strike gold. But in all honesty, in the running world, some things just don't really work. They might be fun, but as usable options, they just don't really hit the spot. Double zoom air units here are a Pegasus staple really, rather than the VOMERO. which is a bit odd. Though, of course, this time they are open to the elements, which is a bit of an anxiety-inducing feature in all fairness for runners. Though I have heard fewer stories over the last couple of years of popped and deflated AirPods from those very sad runners. Yeah, units look pretty considerable here with lots of surface area to them, though it's unconfirmed as to the foam above and below, which is encasing them in these photos here. Loads of waffle-like traction underneath though, which is always great to see. There's those big sections in orange there that appear to be directly under the pods. Not sure how that's going to work. Maybe it's just painted foam. Let's hope so. I would assume there's some type of protection there though, because otherwise all you got to do is step on a nail or something and the shoe's gone for a Burton. Either way, again, no pricing confirmed here. I reckon it'll be the same as the Pegasus Premium, which is going to be close to a couple of £100. I'm a bit undecided on that one at the moment, so I'm going to err towards an A. We have a seriously stacked ASICS trail shoe up next for you. This is the Trabuco Max 4. I tend to leave my trail exploits till warmer temps appear around April, so it's ideal sort of time for a review on something like this. Lots of midsole stack here though. It's a 40mm midsole trail shoe here. We've got ASICS grip on the outsole with some serious lugs for all sorts of terrain. Perhaps ASICS see this as almost like an ultra offering that can be used on rocky areas or gravel across greater distances, perhaps if you're going across different surfaces over a much longer race. 40mm of cushion here, 35mm up front, in the sample size, making for a 5mm drop. One of the most stacked trail offerings I've seen for a while, bar that Meta Fuji trail, though the weight is upwards here of 312 grams to the sample size. Vastly more heel width here though in the Trabuco Max 4 over the Meta Fuji trail, which perhaps make for a somewhat safer option on my local tree route and varied camber trails. At 160 quid as well, they're coming in much lower than that other shoe. I mean, that was about 220, so it's quite a big difference here. I mean, that was a great shoe. Even superb for road, in fact. I fancy this might be a little bit more versatile across your training as well. A little more stability here in the heel if you want a tank capable of like absorbing some really uneven, quite hard surfaces. Flight Foam Turbo is a great foam, don't get me wrong, but I think Flight Foam Blast Eco Plus is a better kind of foam here, suited for road to trail use, and a better one from a stability perspective. So it's a yay on the Trabuco Max 4. I'll give this one a shot. Talking of trails, it's been a while since we had a REEBOK review. In fact, there's not really been many new REEBOK shoes around really. They've been going firmly into this FLOATZIG technology. The Value Busters REEBOK were always great, always there with some big discounts a few years back, but since Adidas sold them and someone else took them on, it's not been quite the same. We do have the FLOATZIG Adventure 1 though. Features interesting FLOATZIG midsole structure here, made up of that Float Ride Energy foam, and they've bolstered up the outsole with larger lugs and thicker rubber. Now there is a version of this shoe that features 3M Thinsulate material on the upper, which I think's like incorporated in some gloves that I've got that I use in the winter, try and keep my hands warm and dry. I guess if you're going to be running in these in a less than hospitable climate, then that might be right up your street, but that's not what I need right now. It is baking hot in this studio. The standard version perhaps a lot more appealing to most people around this time of year from an upper comfort perspective. Though in the morning still pretty chilly, but it doesn't last long. If I can find a cheap deal on these, might give them a whirl for around about 145 notes. Though again, you can see Nike's very aggressive pricing on that recent VOMERO 18. I think these are like 145. The VOMERO coming in less than that with above 40mm stack. So Nike have very clearly shaken the market up a little bit there, producing a shoe that's much lower in price with that more significant stack. So I'll see if I can find a pair of these for discount, maybe give them a whirl. Been too long since we had a REEBOK shoe on the channel. That's all 4 of the shoes on the yay or nay for today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on these down in the comments. Musical interlude for you, or a very old one here, at least for me. I can remember sort of sweet memories really of this track, first hearing it and getting a copy of the EP that it was on. Belle and Sebastian, this is just a modern rock song. Beautiful, airy production here. It just sounds like they're all in the same room, playing at the same time. The vocal take is just so lazy and relaxed and calm. It really does do that to you as well. A great one for listening to when you're out on those long runs, just to take you away. You just drift away when you're listening to this one. One of those tracks I feel should have been a massive hit. If more people had heard the track, then it surely would have got round to the populace and we wouldn't have ended up with some of the dross that we got now. It builds up to this sort of crescendo with loads of reverb, lots of atmosphere to all of the different instrumentation. Truly beautiful, fantastic song that reminds me of the summer, kind of sipping on the sweet nectar of memories on that one. This is just a modern rock song by Belle and Sebastian. Thanks for tuning in, people. Hope you enjoyed the A or Nay. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help with that YouTube algorithm. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you